Royal Family Secrets: How Prince William and Kate Middleton Handle Fame, Pressure and Love. They are the most photographed couple in the world. Every smile analyzed, every silence questioned. But here is the truth most people never hear. The pressure did not break Prince William and Kate Middleton. It trained them. This is not a fairy tale about crowns and carriages. This is a survival story. From the outside, the expectation is simple. A future king, a flawless princess, a perfect marriage under the spotlight. But the reality is far more complicated. And far more human. Because behind palace gates, William and Kate had to learn something no one prepares you for. How to stay in love when the world is watching. When Prince William was born, his life was already written for him. Future king, future symbol, future responsibility. Kate Middleton, on the other hand, was never supposed to be part of that script. She came from a close family, a normal upbringing, a world where privacy existed and mistakes were allowed. When they met at university, there were no titles between them in those early moments. No royal motorcades, no formal roles, just two young people learning who they were. That early freedom mattered more than anyone realized at the time, because it became the emotional foundation they would later depend on when fame closed in. As William's public role intensified, so did the pressure. Every relationship before Kate had failed under scrutiny. Every woman he dated became a headline. What made Kate different was not just patience. It was emotional intelligence. She understood early that loving William meant accepting a life that would never belong entirely to her. But she also understood something else. That if she lost herself completely, the relationship would fail. That balance became their first secret. When media attention grew aggressive, Kate did something unexpected. She stepped back. She built her own space. She refused to chase visibility. This confused critics at the time. Some called her passive. Others underestimated her strength. But insiders later revealed this was a conscious decision. Kate was learning how to survive long-term scrutiny without losing her identity. William watched this closely, and he learned from it. Because fame had already taken something from him once. His mother, Princess Diana's life had been consumed by attention, speculation, and pressure. William grew up seeing what happens when the public appetite never rests. That memory shaped everything he did with Kate. He made a promise early on. That history would not repeat itself. This is where their relationship quietly changed direction. They stopped trying to please the outside world, and started protecting the inside one. When they briefly separated before marriage, the world framed it as instability. But insiders tell a different story. That separation was not a failure. It was a stress test. William needed certainty. Kate needed reassurance. Both needed space to decide whether love could survive the crown. They returned stronger, clearer, more united than before. From that point on, everything became intentional. Their engagement was not rushed. Their wedding was symbolic but controlled. Their public appearances were measured. Behind the scenes, boundaries were being set. They made decisions many found surprising. Living in modest spaces, delaying certain royal duties, creating normal routines whenever possible. These were not rejections of duty. They were survival strategies. When children entered their lives, the pressure multiplied instantly. Not just as parents, but as symbols raising future symbols. William and Kate did something quietly revolutionary. They prioritized emotional stability over tradition, school runs, hands-on parenting, shielding their children from unnecessary exposure. Critics called it modern. Traditionalists called it risky. But insiders say it was non-negotiable. William was determined that his children would not grow up the way he did. And Kate became the emotional anchor that made that possible. What truly keeps them strong is not constant agreement. It is shared purpose. They argue. They disagree. They feel the strain. But they operate as a team. When pressure rises on William, Kate stabilizes the environment. When Kate feels overwhelmed, William steps in quietly. Their public composure is not emotional distance. It is discipline. They understand that showing everything publicly would cost them everything privately. This understanding deepened as royal tensions grew elsewhere. Family divisions, media storms, public opinion turning volatile. William and Kate responded by narrowing their circle. Trust became selective. Privacy became sacred. Insiders say this period strengthened them more than any honeymoon phase ever could. Because love under pressure is not about romance. It is about endurance. They learned when to speak, when to stay silent, when to step forward together. Their body language tells a story most people miss. Small gestures, subtle glances, unspoken communication. These are not rehearsed moments. They are signals of trust built over years of shared strain. Kate's role has evolved significantly. She is not simply supporting William. She is stabilizing the future monarchy. Her calm presence balances his intensity. Her consistency counters chaos. William relies on this more than he ever admits publicly. What the world often mistakes as restraint is actually emotional intelligence at work. They understand something fundamental. Fame is temporary, public approval fluctuates, but the marriage must last. This is why they rarely react impulsively, why they take time before responding to controversy, why silence is often their loudest strategy. It is not avoidance, it is control. As the future king and queen, they are not performing a love story. They are sustaining one, and that requires sacrifice that few will ever see. Moments missed, privacy surrendered, emotions managed rather than expressed publicly. Yet within that constraint, they have built something resilient. Their love is not loud. It is steady, not dramatic, but dependable, and that may be the most radical thing of all in a world addicted to spectacle. The secret is not perfection. It is partnership, not fairy tales, but daily choices. And as the crown moves closer, one truth becomes clear. William does not face the future alone. He never has.